Ambazonians have been seduced to major in minor things. The Ambazonian people have been seduced to be focusing, to be talking, and to measure in minor things. How can people succeed when the only thing they do is to entertain, talk, occupy themselves, and major in minor things? How can people achieve freedom when they are preoccupied with minor things? I am Lucas Asu, the spokesman of the Ambazonia Governing Council. There is no liberation struggle in the history of mankind that has succeeded without strong liberation institutions. There is no liberation struggle in the history of the world that has succeeded without strong liberation institutions. The Ambazonian people have been made to believe that chaos equals progress. Noise is strategy. The Ambazonian people have been made to believe that if there is enough chaos in the liberation struggle, it means they are succeeding. It means things are moving forward. Not knowing that these are well-calculated, deliberate strategy to keep the people in a state of distraction, in a state of frustration, in a state of what I call directionless. People living without a sense of direction, waking up without a sense of direction, living without a sense of direction, yet they want to succeed, yet they want freedom, yet they want to earn occupation. Life doesn't work that way. Chaos is the path to self-destruction, stagnation, entertainment, self-sabotage. Think about it in your own life. When your life is chaotic, can you make progress? When your life is chaotic, are you focusing on what you want? When your life is chaotic, can you take action that's meaningful, that's constructive, that's purposeful? When your life is chaotic, how does it feel? Can you sleep well at night? You know you can't. I'm here to ask you to wake up. Cameroon succeeded to occupy Ambazonia because it dismantled Ambazonian institutions and created Cameroon's institutions to replace Ambazonian self-governing institutions. Cameroon took over Ambazonia. What did they do? The first step they took was to dismantle Ambazonian self-governing institution in order to strip away the people's ability to govern themselves. In order to strip away what makes the Ambazonian people a people. So they ripped your institutions apart. They stripped your institutions away from you. What did Cameroon do? It created Cameroon's institutions for the Ambazonian people to depend on Cameroon's institutions. So Cameroon became in charge of the Ambazonian people through its institutions. Administrative, occupational, governance institutions. That's how Cameroon took over. So, 62 years later, where are we? A generation rose up to demand for freedom, to fight for that freedom. The first time in the history of the people, there is a brave generation, a courageous generation, a generation with a heart of steel, rose up to fight. How are we doing it? Number one, many movements came up. So many movements. There is one movement that stood out. Many movements came up with systems and processes that have never been tested or proven to work. One movement stood out. One. Out of the many, one movement stood out. It wasn't just talking. It wasn't just making propaganda. It started by telling the Ambazonian people the only way to defeat Cameroon is to dismantle first, is to dismantle Cameroon's colonial institutions. And they call it the process of delegitimization. You cannot create something in place of something that already exists. In order to create something new, you must dismantle the old system. You can't create a new system if the old one is still in place. You must dismantle the old system and then create an empowering alternative. So, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba prescribed to the Ambazonian people, gave the Ambazonian people a strategy, a very simple strategy, a 4-step process for them to regain their freedom, power, and independence. A 4-step strategy. Self-defense. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba of the Governing Council of Ambazonia, after studying the enemy, after studying the occupied state, they came to a scientific conclusion that the Ambazonian people must invoke the right for self-defense. You cannot fight a brutal occupier through social agitations. You must study its methods. You must study its actions. You must study its system of thinking. So he designed a plan. He didn't just tell our people to fight. They have to fight using a well-tested and proven plan, a strategy, a method. The purpose of self-defense, number one, is to protect the Ambazonian people. Cameroon is a brutal state, and since 1962 or 1961, when they deployed their military, police, gendarme, and army to take over the Amazonian territory? Because Amazonian leaders that left the Eastern House came to Boya, set up a government without having the mechanisms to defend the institutions of the Amazonian people. So it was very easy for Cameroon to walk into the territory without any challenge. Cameroon became the authority that provides security, peace, maintenance of law and order, enforcement of law and order. There was no challenge. They basically took over. They physically took over the physical possession, not only of the Amazonian state, but also a physical possession of the Amazonian people. The Amazonian people became a captured people because of the lack of foresight by the Amazonian leadership. That failed to build a force to defend the institutions of Amazonia. The primary reason Cameroon succeeded to occupy the Amazonian people and the Amazonian state without any challenge was because there was no force to protect the Amazonian people and their institutions. The world allowed Cameroon to do that because of that vacuum, because of that weakness. Here we are, a new generation, in a new time, in a new space, in a new era. We were about to make the same mistakes. How can people be so foolish to repeat the errors of the past? The people that do not study history are bound to make the mistakes of the past. Leaders of 2016 were about to make the exact same mistake. People rose up, but they want to use the force of argument, an archaic philosophy that is inconsistent with how Cameroon functions. How would you defend what you are fighting for? Because you believe in something called human rights. Because you believe in something called the righteousness of the cause, the righteousness of history. History is on our side. God ordained struggle. So you rely upon your words, your verbal expression, because you want it to be liked by the world. And we make ourselves vulnerable to Cameroon. In those early days, what did Cameroon do? They murdered hundreds within days. September 22nd alone, they killed 483 Amazonian young men and women. In Fako, in the state of Fako alone, on September 22nd, 483 Amazonians were slaughtered. Amazonians were about to make the same mistakes. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, the visionary, the liberator, vowed, we are not the past. We will not be the past. Our destiny will not be shaped by the weaknesses and errors of the past. that the current generation must make tough choices, make tough decisions, and take courageous actions. He wasn't just talking. He built the foundation for the liberation. He built the foundation for the liberation and created a national liberation army with specific political objectives for these forces to fulfill the aspirations of the Amazonian people. To first, protect and defend the people, and number two, challenge Cameroon's occupation of Amazonia by dismantling Cameroon's colonial institutions. Cameroon's system of occupational governance is administered using Cameroon's colonial institutions. If you keep fighting and just socially agitate, and you allow those occupational institutions to exist, you're wasting your time. We must delegitimize Cameroon's legitimacy, or Cameroon's claim of legitimacy. We must delegitimize Cameroon's claim of legitimacy in Amazonia by destroying Cameroon's colonial institutions. The purpose of self-defense: defend and protect the people, delegitimize Cameroon, dismantle everything that gives Cameroon a sense of legitimacy in the Amazonian territory. A very clear, direct, focused objective. Very simple, very clear. Between the late part of 2016 and the late part of 2017, by February and March of 2018, the Amazonian Defense Forces, SOCADEF, and the Tigers liberated almost every single state in Amazonia, including the state of Manu. Most places, Lebialem, Manu, Lebialem, Coupé, Meme, Indian were completely liberated. From Boyo to Menchon to Ngoketunja, Amazonia became so ungovernable, Cameroon lost complete legitimacy by the early part of 2018. Cameroon became confused. The colonial military were stretched to their limit. The carnage and the constant assault on the occupation forces, it was 24/7. Every single minute, every moment, every hour, Cameroon military, police, gendarme army were being killed by Amazonian forces. By the middle part, by June of 2018, there was a clear plan to capture the Amazonian capital, Buea. A plan had been put on Dr. Ayaba's desk, approved. General Ivo had been given specific instructions with a special unit to capture Patrick Ekema and then moved and capture Okala Bilai. General Ivo succeeded to capture Patrick Ekema's residence. He got right into Ekema's bedroom at about 1 a.m. at night. The three also bees that were outside the house protecting, providing security, were silently taken out. Ivo got right into Patrick Ekema's bedroom. They missed Ekema by a millisecond. Ivo took a picture, a selfie of himself in Patrick Ekema's bedroom, made a video, and took a notepad from Ekema's bedside, wrote a note, and signed it, left it on Ekema's bed. That's how close we were. That's how close we were. Now, what happened right after that? By April of 2018, they have injected an implant in the liberation struggle. Cameroon saw the successes on the ground. Cameroon saw the progress on the ground. Cameroon saw the momentum on the ground and came up with a brilliant plan. The people have to be distracted. The structured forces on the ground have to be disrupted. They are going too fast with the pace at which the forces were going. The collaboration between SOCADEF, ADF, and the Tigers was so tight. Other forces on the ground saw the bravery, and more and more Ambazonians were inspired to pick up arms, inspired by Dr. Ayaba's vision and message and courage. Ambazonians started seeing the progress on the ground. Youth got inspired. All across the 13 states, in every district, in every block, there was a defense force inspired by the passion, by the courage, by the honesty, by the sincerity of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, by his commitment and unshakable ability to lead, an unshakable ability to focus on the enemy, an unshakable ability to provide a steady leadership that the people can hold on to a vision, follow a roadmap, execute a strategy, and produce results. What did Cameroon do? They created a model of distraction in the name of Samuel Sako. Sako became the primary instrument used to disrupt the liberation struggle, disrupt the ground through what they call county by county. The structured forces that were making progress on the ground. What were they told? They were told, if you are not from Manu, you cannot fight in Manu. If you are not from Meme, you cannot fight in Meme. If you are not from Fako, you cannot fight in Fako. If you are not from Mezam, you cannot fight in Mezam. The national liberation ideology was an inclusive ideology and strategy because Ambazonians have lived together without any tribalism. For the first time, our people were introduced to hate each other, to see each other as an enemy, to see each other as, you don't belong here, you belong over there. You can't live here, you have to go live over there. It's not an Ambazonian strategy. It's a Cameroon-created strategy to disrupt, to create what I call social disruption, to create noise, to create chaos, to create confusion, and pull the people apart. And pull the people into 1,000 different directions so that they don't have a singular point of focus. They don't have a singular point of target. All the progress that was made in Manu was surrendered to La République. Meme was surrendered to La République. All these forces that have mastered the territory, that can fight in Mezam, and if Mezam became too hot, they can escape and move to Lebialem and move to Bui. They were unable to do that. If Manu became too hot, the forces could move to Meme and find shelter, and they will be received and welcomed by their brothers and sisters. Forces were able to crisscross states and the territory to fight. They were so effective between the late part of 2016 to the middle part of 2018. Within those 2 years, all of a sudden, Cameroon created a disruptive strategy, county by county. It disrupted the fabric of the liberation struggle in terms of self-defense and gave ground zero back to Cameroon. We lost Manu, lost Meme. Ivo was demonized, vilified, attacked. They orchestrated all sorts of conspiracy theories, all sorts of blackmail, character assassination against the bravest Ambazonian that has ever lived. They created hate as a tool, as their justification to assassinate him, as their justification why the liberation must be disrupted, why structured, disciplined forces should not exist. Chaos became the norm, became the normal, became what was accepted. As I said in my opening statement, Ambazonian people were seduced to focus on minor things. We started losing ground by the day. They came in with 419 strategies. They came in with scamming strategies that they would take the Ambazonian people and give them freedom and a platter of gold in 3 months. They came in with a slogan, give me $2 million and I will take you to Boya in 3 months. Something that was tested, proven, and was working. Delivering results. Giving Ambazonians their country back. Was abandoned for shortcuts, for empty words. They never recruited a soldier. They never trained a soldier. They never armed a soldier. They never built a camp. But they promised to give you freedom in 3 months and you believed it. They never created a force. But they promised to liberate you in 3 months and you believed it, didn't you? And you contributed money to and gave it to them, didn't you? You believed in wishful thinking. You believed in magic. They will take you to Boya in 3 months. Without a roadmap. Without a strategy. You believed it. You hailed them. The Messiah has come. You abandon common sense. You abandon honesty. You abandon character. You abandon integrity. You went for sweet talk. They seduced you into distraction. They seduced you using religion. Using false promises. By fake prophets. By 419 artists and con men and women. You believed it. Cameroon was taking back all the places where we have made significant progress. Cameroon gradually started taking back control of the territory. And you were here singing, IG, 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 interim government, interim government, interim government, interim government, IG, 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 IG left, IG right. Morning till evening you were singing IG, 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 IG. I ask you questions then. If they have not trained a single soldier, if they have not recruited a single soldier and show you that this is my force, this is the forces that are going to liberate you. If they didn't train a soldier, they didn't arm a soldier, they didn't deploy a soldier. No, first, they didn't recruit a soldier, they didn't train a soldier, they didn't arm a soldier, they didn't deploy a soldier. How are they going to liberate you in 3 months? I ask you those questions. I ask you to use your common sense. I ask you, important questions. Don't just believe what people tell you. Ask critical questions. Show me the forces. They created a TV. If they had a TV, then they can show you the forces. They said no. I met them. I met Sako one-on-one. I interviewed Sako in Toronto. And I asked Sako, what is your strategy? You said you're going to take Ambazonian people to Boya. You're going to give them freedom in 3 months. What is your strategy? In a town hall, Sako said, the strategy is classified. Again, being an educator, being a teacher, I asked the second question. If the strategy is classified, as you have openly said in the public, how can people execute a strategy that is classified? I guess sense. Right? How can people execute a strategy that is classified? Sako said, those are not things he can discuss in the public. I said, but you're in the public raising money. You're in the public asking people to give you $2 million. And you're going to give them freedom in 3 months. So if you can raise money in public, so the forces, which forces are you going to use to take Ambazonians to Buea in 3 months? Have you recruited forces? Have you trained forces? We ain't seeing you providing arms. They said they should take the microphone from me because I'm being a knucklehead. I asked too many questions. So they took the microphone away from me. Then we told you they were embezzling the money. Most of you called me all sort of names. I provided evidence. Forces they were bribing on the ground started complaining. The forces they were hiring on the ground started complaining. I told you, most of you called me all sort of names. I provided detailed scientific analysis with facts and evidence. You called me all sort of names, didn't you? Where is Sako today? Where is county by county today? Where is Sako? Where is county by county? Where are those forces? And where is the $2 million? What did you believe on? What was it that you put your hopes on? Was there any foundation to what they told you to believe in? Was there any substance? Zero. It was all sand castles. It was all castles built in the air to scam you, to manipulate you. And when men of honor and dignity and truth and character take their time to do scientific analysis to warn you of the danger ahead, you fail to listen. And as a result, those that fail to heed to sound warnings will end up in the ditch. Those that fail to listen to common sense will pay a price. Ambazonians paid a price. More than 693 Ambazonian so-called county by county forces, young men of ADF, SOCADEF, and Tigers that were manipulated, bribed to switch sides, were abandoned, left vulnerable, were deceived to take schools and turn them into their own police stations without anything to defend themselves and to protect them. About 693 Ambazonians, youth, that were active forces, were slaughtered. There is a price to pay when you fail to listen to sound research, educational, inspirational, objective advice. There is a price a people will pay when they choose to obey lies, corruption, deception, manipulation, and self-destructiveness. When a people choose to abandon substance for emptiness, there is a price. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba gave the Ambazonian people a foundation to not only to sustain the liberation, but that guarantees their liberation. They abandoned that and sought prophets, men of scamming, and sought Judas Iscariots, and sought scammers. And since then, there have been unending chaos. What happened? It didn't end there. Once county by county failed as the first disruptive strategy, they moved to something different called the AMF. They came up with a concept of the AMF as the second manipulative strategy in order to disrupt the foundation of Ambazonian liberation struggle, which is the Ambazonia Defense Forces, SOCADEF, and the Tigers, so that there should not be a foundation for the liberation. The liberation should be chaotic and directionless. It should be without a focus. It should be without a leadership. They brought in AMF. That didn't work out. Then they said, oh, they moved to the next one called ASC. And said everyone, every fighter on the ground that failed to join the ASC will be killed. Forces of the Tiger refused. That there have to be transparency. What is all this about? There have to be due consultations. Those people took a list of the names of forces of the Tiger, a list of about 180 Ambazonian fighters under the Tigers, and leaked it on social media. Sako and John Igiwan, with their date of birth and their phone numbers and their pictures, everything leaked to Cameroon military intelligence. What do you think happened to these young men and women? Tracked, killed. It didn't end there. From ASC, they moved to what? Restoration forces. From ASC, they came up with the next manipulative strategy called restoration forces. A name created by Mark Barretta. Because according to the concept of the IG, they want to restore the independence of Southern Cameroons as if we have ever been independent. You cannot restore something that never existed. Ambazonian has never gained independence. As a people, we have never gained independence. So you cannot restore something that never existed. Our people, Ambazonian has existed, number one, as a trusteeship under the United Nations trusteeship. Ambazonia existed as a self-governing entity between 1954, if I'm not mistaken, to 1961. Then it became West Cameroon. So what is it that you want to restore? You cannot restore the trusteeship. What are you restoring? West Cameroon? So our people were being deceived of the restoration of Ambazonia. It was the restoration of West Cameroon. Ships in wolves in sheep clothing, deceiving our people, not knowing that they were pushing a different agenda. So they call these forces restoration forces. And they ask them to kill anyone else that does not accept to be under the restoration forces. We've gone from the first disruptive strategy of county by county. Then they move to what? AMF. Then they move to ASC. Then they move to restoration forces. Think about it. They keep recycling the names, but doing the exact same thing. They just keep recycling the names. The same forces, all they do is to change the name. It was just continuous recycling. No such thing existed in Ambazonia as county by county forces. No such thing existed in Ambazonia as AMF. No such thing existed in Ambazonia as ASC. All right? Restoration forces were loose forces on the ground that were forces to be hired by anyone who pays money. So if IG Sako pays money, they say, yeah, we fight for Sako. If IG, Ayokabe and Yerima pays the money, they say, oh, we define for Seseko. If the people of the town hall pays the money, they say, oh, we define winner for the people there for town hall. Restoration forces was a generic loose name because all the forces on the ground have unique names. Restoration forces became a name used for the corruption of forces, for the hiring of forces, for the buying of loyalty, in order for Sako to pursue the Swiss talks. A well-guided plan. All right? The whole purpose of all these changes of names was in order to shift the foundation of the liberation struggle, make it become something that is chaotic, something that doesn't have a sense of direction, a sense of purpose, something that people don't even know where it's going. And they kept feeding our people restoration, 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 without the people even knowing what restoration really means. And no one dared to ask simple questions. What are you restoring? A few of us did. We educated all of you that it's all propaganda and mafia. What can you restore? Are you going to restore the trusteeship? Will the British government be interested to come and to bring back the trusteeship? It cannot. The UN is not going to go back to open all those files. So what are you going to restore? West Cameroon of Mr. Weber, as he calls it in Parliament? You can't take it from us. We are the people of West Cameroon. Federalist, right? Unionist. just hiding. So sometimes they speak their mind. So we dare to ask questions. They couldn't answer this question. Go ask Mark Barretta. So if you said your forces are restoration forces, so what are they fighting? Because if they are fighting to restore, how can you fight to restore something that never existed? Because the state of Ambazonia never existed as a state. So you can't claim to restore it. We challenge them. They can't answer basic questions. They shy away from the debates. They shy away from the arguments. But they kept preaching it. Some are still talking about restoration even till today. When the land is under intense occupation. Now let me ask you a question. You believed them when they told you about county by county, didn't you? They told you they are the most popular. I am being watched by hundreds of thousands. Eric Tato told you guys, he's the most popular activist. He's the most influential activist. He raises the most amount of money. Didn't he? He told you follow him. We ask for accountability. You collect money every day from the Ambazonian people. We have not seen a single rifle you've given to a soldier. Where are these forces? Why don't you just show us? Oh, I forgot. You guys remember? They said they had a national army. Okay, let me go back. County by county. AMF, ASC, Restoration Forces, National Army. They told you they have National Army. And they raised money. They collected hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let me ask you, where are the county by county forces? Where is AMF? Where is ASC? Where is National Army? Where is your so-called restoration forces today? How many have died? How many have been killed? How many homes have been burned? How many villages have been razed down? Because we accepted and settled for sweet talks. We couldn't ask basic, simple, common sense questions. We wanted magic. We want voodoo. We want to create progress without any substance to support their claims. You want liberation, but you can't ask a simple question. How are you going to give me liberation? Today, you cannot answer the question, did they ever show you a force called county by county forces? You can't answer that question. Why did you allow yourself to be deceived? Why did you allow yourself to be manipulated? Why did you fail to ask basic questions for accountability and transparency before giving your money? Where is Eric Tato today? Where is the most popular activist today? Where are all the thousands and the millions of views they told you and the followers they told you they have? Where is that influence today? What was that influence used for? Was it used to inspire, encourage, empower, and help you to achieve progress? Was it used to help you to fight Cameroon? Was that popularity used to fight Cameroon? Or it was used for purposes of corruption and embezzlement? And then for your hopes to be dashed, to be squashed, to be crushed. You know how much they took from Cameroon government? For all what they were doing? For the hate they were spewing? For the blackmail they were selling? For the sabotage they were engineering on a daily basis? You know how much they collected from the Cameroon government? You're very fortunate. With all the strategies to inject chaos and disrupt the liberation struggle, to kill the struggle and render you hopeless, something has stood the test of time. Unshakable leadership. Eric Tato spent 3 years to make sure Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, a man who gave the Ambazonian people a foundation for their liberation, is destroyed. The ADF, the foundation of your liberation, is destroyed. The AGOVC is destroyed. Spent 3 years. Eric Tato collected millions from the Cameroon government and abandoned you, right? The ADF is still standing. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba is still standing. The Ambazonia Governing Council is still standing. County by county, AMF, ASC, National Army, Restoration Forces have all that never existed. They were just buzzwords and names. All have disappeared. Guess what is still standing? The truth. Character is still standing. The truth is still standing. Hard work is still standing. Honesty is still standing. Integrity is still standing. Vision is still standing. Conviction is still standing. The Ambazonia Governing Council is still standing. It's the only thing left. Everything else has collapsed. All the lies have crumbled. All the blackmail have crumbled. All the sabotage have crumbled. Truth is still standing. Lies have a short lifespan. Truth is eternal. Listen to what I've just said. Lies have a very short lifespan. Truth is eternal. Character is eternal. Virtues would last forever. Virtues would live and last forever. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba and the Ambazonia Governing Council, they created a foundation for the liberation struggle by building institutions. Cameroon occupied Ambazonia by dismantling Ambazonians' institutions and creating Cameroon's institutions in their place. Dr. Cho told the Ambazonian people, you cannot allow Cameroon institutions to exist, and he said you are fighting for independence. To succeed, all Cameroon institutions must be dismantled. All Cameroon destructive institutions that were created to disempower our people, to disenfranchise our people, to disable our people, to weaken our people, to impoverish our people, to render them hopeless. We must dismantle Cameroon's colonial occupation institutions and create alternative Ambazonian indigenous as institutions for self-governance, to give power back to the people. If you don't do that, you will fight for another 100 years. The strategy laid out by Dr. Cho helped us to delegitimize Cameroon. All the colonial senators, all the parliamentarians, most of the DOs and the SDOs all escaped to La République du Cameroon. Most Cameroon top colonial government officials within the territory, Lele Lafrique started living in Bafoussam. Okala Bilai moved to Douala. The territory became ungovernable. And we massively increased the cost of occupation. They have to adapt and invested, borrowed millions to start to use armor cars. And we rendered Cameroon bankrupt. What exists today? Strong institutions for the liberation. The Ambazonia Defense Forces, while everything else has collapsed, the ADF is the only force under a direct political leadership with specific political objectives for the people. Now has presence in 9 out of the 13 Ambazonian states. The Ambazonia Defense Forces of the Governing Council of Ambazonia is the only force under a direct political leadership that has presence in 9 out of the 13 states in the territory. 9 out of the 13 states under one singular central command, under one direct political structure. They fight for a specific political objective for the Ambazonian people. Their objective is very clear, well spelled out in the Ambazonia Governing Council Charter about the creation of the ADF. Protect and defend the people, fight and liberate the land, and secure the sovereignty. Well defined. They have a mandate. They have a specific purpose. It is not some hidden agenda. The Charter of the Ambazonia Governing Council clearly states the purpose of the Ambazonia Governing Council. The foundational liberation institutions for the Ambazonian people. Its purpose is to mobilize the Ambazonian people, to help the Ambazonian people to lead the liberation struggle, to liberate the land, and to give power back to the Ambazonian people. That's the purpose of the Ambazonia Governing Council. That's its vision, and that's its mission. Let me ask you a question. What is the purpose of the existence of the creation of IG, of UNSHAKABLE? Have you read their constitution to know the purpose of the existence of that organization? Have you read their constitution? Have they told you the purpose of that organization? Have you asked what is the purpose for the creation of the SACO IG? Have you read their constitution? What about SCNC? What is the purpose of their existence? Are they living up to that purpose? Is the purpose of their existence consistent with the reality of the people today? What is the purpose of the consortium? What is the purpose for their existence in 2023? What is their purpose? What is the purpose for the creation of Chrisanus IG? Have you read their constitution? Do you know the purpose of their existence? What about IG Marianata? What is the purpose for the creation of that IG? Have you read their constitution or charter? Do you know why they exist? Are they living up to that obligation in their utterances, in their behaviors, and in their actions? I'm asking you this question because we're at a very critical point. In the coming days, I will provide an insight into the mafia, the political mafia that is engulfing the Ambazonian people. In the coming days, you must ask these questions. Don't allow yourself to be taken for granted. Don't allow anyone to deceive you. More than 20,000 have died. You don't ask questions, you'll be taken for granted. You don't ask questions. You must study each movement so that it will help you to make informed choices. Not based on a hearsay. Okay? You must make well-informed choices. But that will tell you why they act the way they act. Once you understand their purpose, once you understand their intentions, you will understand why they act the way they act, why they behave the way they behave. Have you asked yourself this question? if the IG of UNSHAKABLE really wants freedom for the Amazonian people, and freedom for the people is what they were created to pursue, are they pursuing freedom for the people? Ask yourself, since 2017, are they pursuing freedom for the people? Ask yourself. Are they defending the people? Are they protecting the people? What have they built as institutions? Oh, good question. What have they built as institutions that will help you to gain freedom? Oh, I didn't intend to ask you such questions. That's what a great teacher does. I want you to think. I'm reawakening something in you. And helping you to kill the deception and manipulation that has hypnotized you for the last 6 years. I'm de-hypnotizing you from their hypnosis. I'm de-associating you. I want to ask you a question. Oh, let me ask you another question. What about SCNC? Why do they exist? Why do they exist? What are they offering you? What are they offering you? You are under occupation, right? Cameroon has militarized Amazonia. It's now in a military occupation, right? How do they want you to survive? How do they want you to survive? We must have these discussions. Okay. Let me take you forward. We have succeeded. The strategy Dr. Cho gave the Amazonian people, everything this man promised the Amazonian people, that creating these institutions is the only thing that will stand the test of time. Without institutions, our people will not have a sense of direction. Without institutions, our people will not have a voice. Without institutions, our people will not know what to do. Institutions help to guide our sense of direction. They give us a sense of direction. They provide a vision. They provide a path of what we all should be doing. The ADF is an institution. The ADF is the liberation foundation. The ADF is the liberation foundational institution for the Amazonian people. And so too is the AGOFC as a national liberation movement. Strong institutions would outlive all of us. The ADF is effective because it was created as an institution, politically regulated. The conduct of the Supreme General is regulated by the political leadership. The generals are appointed by the political leadership. The commanders are appointed by the political leadership. The ADF is your National Liberation Army. The ADF is not, the ADF is an institution of the Ambazonian people, created by the Ambazonian people, owned by the Ambazonian people, managed by the Ambazonian people. That's your liberation foundation. If they ask you to destroy it, what would you be left with? Can you imagine someone ask you to destroy the foundation of your house? Can you imagine someone ask you to destroy the foundation of your life? If you destroy your liberation foundation, would you have a liberation? Would you? So they're asking you, destroy the ADF. The only reason they are blackmailing the ADF, sabotaging the ADF, creating smear campaign against the ADF, it is because they are trying to destroy the foundation of your liberation. And they have not created anything that comes close. There is no force on the ground that you can say is the second, the third, the fourth, or the fifth to the ADF. It's the only force in 9 out of the 13 states. It is the core of our resistance. That is what is keeping the resistance alive. If you take away the foundation, you take away the core, there's no liberation. And that's what the spoilers are aiming for. So that you should not have a liberation. That's why now they are saying, oh, Dr. Abana hardliner. What do you wanted him to be? A soft liner? A moderate? A moderate is the colonial prime minister. Diongute is a moderate. Okay? All the colonial elites are moderate. Are moderates. All those in diaspora, those elites, those old CPDM and SDF elites, they are all moderates. Unionist. The campaign against the ADF is the campaign for the Ambazonian people for self-destruction. Protect your institutions. Protect the core of your resistance. Protect the egg of sea. Everything else has collapsed. The IG of Ayoktabe no longer exists. Ayoktabe as a figure, as a personality, it still exists and is still respected. But the IG he left, there is nothing left in it. Nothing. IG of Sako is gone. Gone. There's nothing left. After the collapse, the only thing that was holding the IG Sako alive was the Swiss talks. That's what Cameroon wanted to use him for. To divert attention from the foundation of the liberation. Rushed into something that nobody knew what it was all about. And then spin the Ambazonian people in circles. And then kill their hopes. And they did it after 3 years. Right? From 2019, from 2018, from the late part of 2018 to 2022. It came to an end. Sako crashed. Cameroon dumped him. Okay? Because there was a foundation that Cameroon couldn't manipulate. There was a foundation that Cameroon could not bribe. There was a foundation that Cameroon could not corrupt. The Ambazonia Governing Council. It is as white in its operation. It doesn't keep secrets. There are no secrets in the egg of sea. The egg of sea has, people don't sit and look for and create how to destroy others. The egg of sea, people don't sit and create plan about how do we make sure we destroy those people, we destroy that group. We know that if any group is destroyed, there will be a void in the liberation struggle. That's why even forces that were antagonistic, that have been instrumentalized to hate the ADF still found a way to work with them, to educate them, and to even support them. Because if you take those forces out for the purposes for you alone to be the only one that exists, you destroy that block, you leave an open space for the enemy to take you out. Their existence provide protection and security to the population and secure that block for Amazonia. So understand, anyone that is out there preaching hate, smear campaign, blackmail against the only thing that is sustaining and surviving your liberation struggle, do you think like you? If someone like you, they won't ask you to destroy the foundation of your life. If they like you, they won't be attacking the foundation of your house. Because without the foundation, what have you got? Dr. Cho Ayaba, that's why he created strong institutions for the Amazonian people in order to sustain the liberation struggle. In order to create a clear path with certainty for the people to follow. For the people to have an anchor so that Cameroon cannot manipulate the Amazonian people. Without strong institutions, corruption becomes very rampant. Embezzlement will become very rampant. Institutions regulate the attitude, the behaviors of leaders, and they are held accountable. People that cannot be kept in check, don't want their behaviors to be regulated, that are reckless, that are corrupt, cannot function within the egg of sea. Cannot. The president of Amazonia Governing Council, the leader is highly regulated. The finance department is in charge of egg of sea finances. If Dr. Ariaba's office, I remember in 2021, we needed to improve the communication within the leader's office. We needed a laptop that cost $800. We had to write a requisition and explain why we needed a laptop to the finance department. That's how egg of sea works. The finance department, the head of the finance department, keeps the money. The accounting department, which is part of the accounting department, they decide how money is spent, not the president. The president, even the defense people, have to write requisitions for stuff. That's why People that are corrupt within A of C, the moment their corruption is known within the organization, they become uncomfortable to live within that organization. People that are embezzling, that embezzle money, the moment it's known, they become uncomfortable. People that are corrupt, you cannot be within the A of C if you're corrupt, because it will be known. It's an open system. You can't. It's an open system. It is the most transparent system we have. So, fellow Ambazonians, when I don't come very far, this generation don't come very far. The only reason we don't succeed, the only reason where the other generate leaders, the other time where people they be rise up in the past, they fail. Now because they not be build strong institutions them for lead the people them. The people not be know what they fight for and how for fight. In the past, no man not be create a roadmap for tell the people say that the road this will go full and for gain independence. The judge talks say the one independence, the one independence, the one independence. What they call and say the force of argument. The judge want independence for mob, by mob. Say if they cry for the international community, would it be marginalized? Cameroon don't take our land. If they talk enough, then they go tell the history of Southern Cameroons. Then they talk all the bad things like the Republic they do for we. Then the white man, he go pity them enough and he can't give them independence. Now for which book for the world when I don't ever read them, say people they go cry. They go cry, they kiwi ya. Oh, they go kiwi taya oh. They go kiwi taya oh. Oh, poor Bia go kiwi taya oh. And then some person will just come up for they say, well, poor Bia, you the kid that people that are really sorry that people they go forget their independence. Now, which country for the world where when I don't ever study them, it don't ever happen like that. It never ever happen. So why when I think say when I own go be different? In the past, movements they fail because they not be get a sense of direction. They not be create institutions where people feel trust those institutions. They not be create a vision for the people where the people feel believe in. They not be create a path will be so clear to the people. People, when something be very clear for them and it makes sense, they feel believe them and put their trust for that thing. All right? The reason where the liberation don't succeed now because Dr. Cho create the A of C as the liberation institution with a clear how they talk at me. That means they create the A of C, say it get a reason for the reason. Well, okay, I beg when I not laugh. It hard for translate. They create the A of C with an aim. I did try for talking for pidgin, but this so Igbo. So they create the A of C with aim. It get a reason where they create the A of C. Number one, they create the A of C, the Ambazonia Governing Council, now as the umbrella organization where it go gather all Ambazonian them for help them make they stand up strong, for stand for their rights for self-determination, for fight and for liberate the land and free the people them and then give the people them the power back for them for create a country where it go give all the people them the highest quality of life. What would they call and say self-governance. Now the people they go govern themselves. Now the people they go create the country. Now the people they go. Now the people themselves first bring what people them, educate them, help them, make them stand strong and fight La Republique. Liberate the land by pushing La Republique out. And then give what people them the power for them for create the kind of country they like them. But the egg of sin of it talks say we not fit fight if we not scatter all the Cameroon occupation institution the way Cameroon don't use them for keep the Amazonian people them captive under captive. That means say for keep we under chains. Cameroon, all those their colonial institutions them, from the governor to the SDO to the DOs, right? I mean to the DOs and the to the SDOs and the DOs. Cameroon, all those sub-delegates, all those mayors, all those Cameroon, their government thing they would put them for our land. Now for weaken the Amazonian people them. Now for make our people not get power. Now for make our people not get voice. Now for make our people the poor. Now for make Cameroon a climb on top we. So they create all that in them. Now for use them for suppress our people them. Before Cameroon one can create their own colonial institutions, the first way Cameroon do them for chakara and destroy all the institutions and we were papa the beyond bilam where they feel help we for create our own country. So Cameroon, it can for occupy we, they destroy our own institutions. As they destroy our own institutions, then they make we become a weak people. So now for the Cameroon can take and now it cash we. Cameroon can destroy our own institution, them Cameroon can create Cameroon institution them. That Cameroon institutions then now it been as until the world now can recognize them. It can't start for honor them. It can't start for accept them. So now we will be now a capture people under Cameroon occupation. Dr. Cho talk say for win Cameroon, we must chakara the Cameroon colonial institutions when the world look and say Cameroon get the right for Amazonia. So if we destroy and chakara all those Cameroon colonial institutions, Cameroon will lose power for Amazonia. It will lose the ability for govern way. It will lose the ability for administer the occupation. It will lose the ability for control the territory. So part of the fight, not be only for pick guns, now for chakara everything Cameroon for Amazonia. As with the chakara, we must replace them. We must create Amazonia its own institutions. So, for place where Cameroon institution be there, when we scatter them, we must replace them with better Amazonia institution. If you not do them so, you go remain chakara, you go remain useless, you go remain, we don't know who's for go. If Palava come out, we don't know who's for go talk the matter. If Pekin, the born Pekin, we don't know place where we go carry that Pekin, go give a birth certificate. So if we not create the Amazonia institutions, we go so the go now for La Republique, go use their own institutions. We go so the use na Cameroon birth certificate, Cameroon ID card, Cameroon license plate. So Cameroon will continue for occupy we, even though it talks with the fight for independence. For defeat Cameroon, number one, now for chakara all Cameroon colonial institutions were land. That's why they help for create the egg of sea and they help for build the ADF as the foundation for our liberation. So any person will tell you say make you destroy the ADF. Any person will tell you make you destroy the egg of sea. If you destroy the foundation for your own house, you go get house. If you destroy the foundation of your life, you get life. So if you destroy the only foundation of our liberation struggle, the ADF, na the liberation foundation for a liberation struggle. The egg of sea na the foundation for a liberation struggle. If you destroy them, nothing no day again. The ADF, they create them as your National Liberation Army, would say, now, it must do now this thing then. Number one, protect the people them. Number two, defend the people them. Protect them and defend them. Number three, fight for liberate the land. When I hear, fight for liberate the land. Number four, when you liberate some place, now you must turn them into Ambazonia. And then you give them back for the people them. Make the start for create community institutions for govern themselves. You not fight where you not create something for Ambazonia. We not just the fight. Cameroon for Ambazonia because it create institutions. Without those institutions, Cameroon not gain legitimacy for Ambazonia. So if we fight for dismantle Cameroon institutions, we must create Ambazonia own institutions for Ambazonia for take over control of the land. So that Ambazonia now will be the legitimate authority for the land. When I hear what I tell you now, Cameroon gain legitimacy by creating institutions. We give Cameroon legitimacy for Ambazonia. When we destroy Cameroon institutions, we delegitimize Cameroon. And now we must create Ambazonian institutions for Ambazonia for be the legitimate authority for the land. If you not create institutions, you not get legitimacy. Now those institutions, they give you the authority, they give you power. That's why till today, in fact, in the coming days, I will explain them for now. Why Cameroon they try to build so many new things in Ambazonia, so many new institutions then. Where people that they die because of the lack of knowledge, and the reason where people that they go entertain comedy, gossip, that they go entertain kosh and useless things then. Now because the liberation it lack effective knowledge and effective education. I take responsibility for this one. I take responsibility. Because since 2016, when I don't trust me as the highest source of education and inspiration, and over the last few months, especially now that you over travel for work, sometimes the big way, I know if you communicate and provide the kind education we go keep on a focus. So, in the absence of quality education, noise, it go fill the space. So, I take personal responsibility for that. And I will do my best, no matter how it be, for make sure so we will not leave the gap. We will make sure so a gap not exist. We will be filled by hate. We will be filled by kosh. We will be filled by nothingness. We will be filled by comedy. You not feel build a better life when you deliver and they put hate inside your head. You not feel create progress when you deliver, they scatter your head with lies. You not feel make better thing for your life when they distract you, when they take you left and right, like as I don't explain now. They take you from county by county, ASC, right? AMF, National Army, Restoration Forces. All na cast as though the bill for air. There was nothing where exist. So I go to do my best for maintain a level of education for our people then for the 21st century. A level of political empowerment. a level of liberational psychology. For equipped you and give you the mental toughness and give you something sweet, beautiful, impactful, something we get quality. Not focus on minor things. Not allow yourself to be drowned in empty noise. Like they don't do over the last 6 years. You be a quality mommy, a quality papa, and will be a quality people. The only thing we go last na character. Lies, they get a very short lifespan. The truth, it go always last. Manipulation, it go die. It need to live long. Deception need to live long. All right? So, when I protect una foundation, when I protect una ADF, when I get ADF for 9 out of the 13 states, now the only force under a direct political leadership with a clear mandate for the liberation of the people. Make no person not tell you otherwise. We never create any other thing. Before some person want tell you how ADF bad, make it show you what you don't create them will be better than ADF. Before any person want tell you how AGOVC bad, make it show you what we don't create them will be better, stronger, more clear, more transparent than AGOVC. Before any person want tell you how Dr. Ayabana this, Dr. Ayabana that, make that person tell you first, what you don't do them, we pass what Dr. Ayabana don't offer them, give them, create them, build them, and sacrifice for the Amazonian people. All right? We go succeed as a people when we continue to build and follow, when we continue to follow sound character. Leadership will be unshakable. Leadership will be unshakable. The feet go up, they come down. There's no place where the last talk will come out. The Ambazonia Governing Council. Now the truth, the way, the light, and the freedom. Now the foundation of liberation. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. Every person we don't know this man. Now the hardest working leader we will ever ask for. The most dedicated human being we will ever meet him. And when you know he, now the most supportive and caring person. Even the one where they call shit today, where they call you all kind name. When they need help, they go for you, they still give them money. When they come for you, they explain their situation, say that they go through a tough time. It is support them. The one where today they run him up around. Last year for 2022, for 2021, he come say one go married for another country. Dr. Abba say, well, you go married, you be a member of the organization. Make the organization give you a gift for say congratulations, say you go married. They give this person $500. Dr. Abba Sesef, he move $500 for his own pocket. He give for this person. Say, as you go married, congratulations. We no go fit be there with you, but now they give this. Because we see each other within the organization as a brother. And as a leader, he did like Papa for all we. A supportive, a loving, a caring leader. He don't trust many for carry out the duties of the liberation. Then when they fall into the hands of the enemy, because of the weakness in their own character, because of longer throat, and then the one can call a name for outside. That lies, they get a very short lifespan. They get a very short lifespan. We don't see so many things. Ambazonian people don't be through so much. There will be a strong people, no matter how much they betray we, for selfish, financial, corrupt reasons, for people the way they major on minor things, we go always become better. The ADF would always they don't do them for this force, kill their forces, even kill 39 soldiers for one day. Take 3 machine gun them. With plenty gun them. That force still stands strong as the strongest, most powerful force with a presence for 9 states out of the 13. And every other force, it almost disappear. Because they build them on the truth, they stand on the truth, and they live on the truth. Because they get a purpose for its creation. They create them as the National Liberation Army for defend and protect the people them. Give the people them something they feel count on, depend on for their liberation, so that liberation not will be in something will go the only talk for mob. Without power for this world, no people they feel exist if they not create their own power. The Ambazonian Governing Council, now the institution where it create power, liberation power, political power, for make the Ambazonian people, where they only be people that they only talk for mob. No man not fit give you independence when you be just a talking head. You must build political, military, economic power. Without power, you be nothing as a people. If we not be build the ADF, invoke the right of self-defense, who's at the liberation for day to day? When I think now all this one are 50-something movements, would it be led by weaklings? Man picking the way they not get that thing where they under their foot, in between their foot them. Almost 50 movements. No man of his stand. For say, as they don't kill more than 20,000 people, I will be there for defend and protect these people. You get more than 50 movements. More than 1,000 villages don't be burned. They don't burn them down. None of them. If we stand up for the rights of those people. And for help those people. For become a powerful people. So that such things will not go happen again for the history of our people then. And then when the Ambazonia Governing Council, it said never in the history of our people then, this kind of thing will continue to happen. Then all these other talking heads, study the world today. A people where they not get power, they be as useless as anything else. They be at the mercy of the international system. You want freedom? Follow man with no road. You want freedom? Stand on the truth. You want freedom? Without character, the world will corrupt you and sell you back to the enemy. some of our best friends and for this liberation struggle. Because of longer throat. And I see places they don't end up. Because character no day. Because character no day. If you not get character, they go buy you out. And you go to talk the opposite talk. All right? Number 1, strong institutions. Number 2, unshakable leadership. Be guided by character, stamina, integrity, and a passion for the rights, lives, hopes, and aspirations of the people. The Ambazonia Governing Council are the only thing we want to get them. We give now a liberation struggle. Without the AGOVC and its national defense forces of the Ambazonia Defense Forces, the Ambazonia liberation struggle for don't die a long time ago. And everybody else, if we don't beg La Republique to come around and ask for forgiveness. I must story this one for today. I don't be online for about almost 2 hours. I don't really talk for enough today. I'll do my best for keep the promise what I don't make for now. I'll make sure say we filled our communication space with quality education. We'll create a respectful space for reflect what you are people that they ask for. We'll not feel the fight for freedom and be a people that they measure for minor things. If you focus on minor things, allow yourself to be bombarded by comedy, by drama, by gossip, by foolish talk, because people not get substance, sell themselves too cheap. Any people that sell themselves too cheap, when I know you know place where they sell okrika, you know place they sell okrika, right? Too cheap, you become okrika. Any person, if you buy you. I'll be when I brother Lucas Asu, or when I get my phone number. If you get a question, you get something for ask me. When I feel free for reach out to me as a spokesman of the Ambazonia Governing Council. I'll be very proud for being an Ambazonia. I'll be very proud for live for this time and space. I'll be very proud for be part of this generation. And I'll be very proud for be among the unshakable. We be unshakable. AGOVC will be unshakable on behalf of the Ambazonian people. Then. All right? We love una. We care about una. The reason why they up for 12 o'clock for night, after 12 hours of work on a project, the reason why they up for 12 o'clock for night, I for do the work, I for educate, I for uplift, I for inspire. All right? You call upon me when I don't send me all kind of advice, and I did listen. I will do the work where the leader don't assign me for doing. The organization don't assign me for doing. The people expect me for doing. When I expect me for lead with quality, and I go uphold a high quality on behalf of una. Because na tinda wa mami they expect we, na tinda wa papa they expect we, na tinda wa brothers they expect we, na tinda with this liberation struggle they expect we. Quality. Una good night. We'll talk tomorrow. For night. I live now with this by music.